Obsessive compulsive disorder or OCD involves primarily of obsession and compulsion. Obsession is an idea, impulse or image which intrudes into the conscious awareness repeatedly. These ideas, impulses or images are recognized as one's own idea but perceived as ego alien, and even felt by the individual as bizarre or absurd. Compulsion is defined as a form of behavior which usually follows obsession. It is either aimed to prevent or neutralize the distress or fear arising from obsession. The behavior is not realistic and either irrational or excessive, but the insight of the irrationality is present. Let's hear from some of the eminent psychologists in the field of clinical psychology about obsessive compulsive disorder.
OCD दैट मीन्स कि ऑब्सेशन और कंपल्शन दोनों ही बातें हैं इसमें। देखिए ऐसे है कि वो एक बहुत ही पॉजिटिव इंडिकेटर्स होते हैं। ऑब्सेशन होना किसी चीज़ों के लिए बहुत ही अच्छा माना जाता है, लेकिन उस ऑब्सेशन के लिए कोई एक्सट्रीम अगर कंपल्शन आ जाए और दैट इज़ नॉट एक्सेप्टेड इन आवर सोशियो कल्चरल बैकग्राउंड, दैट कुड बी अ पार्ट ऑफ सिम्टम। ऐसी समस्याओं में एक चीज़ तो बहुत मान के हम चलते हैं कि व्यक्ति के मानसिक प्रक्रियाओं में सबसे ज़्यादा जो इंट्रूसिव थॉट, एक तरह से आप मान के चलेंगी एक ऐसी सोच आ जाती है जो एक्चुअल में होता ही नहीं है।
Norman Dodge explained in a book, The Brain That Changes Itself, that what happens with people in OCD is that the gear shifter caudate nucleus becomes jammed, which means that even if a person does something to correct the mistake that the brain has detected, the feeling does not go away. The brain is unable to shift the next gear, making the person anxious. That is why OCD is an anxiety type disorder. Here, obsessive compulsive disorder.
So obsessions are unwanted thoughts which create anxiety in a person, and to release that anxiety there are compulsions. So compulsions are the actions taken by a person to release the anxiety because of the obsessional ideas or thoughts. In this disorder, treatment can help, but this condition can't be cured.
Research psychiatrist Dr. Jeffrey M. Schwartz describes this as a brain lock. He even describes the effective behavioral therapy for OCD in his book, Brain Lock. Brain scan of OCD patients show that orbitofrontal cortex, cingulate gyrus, and caudate nucleus are hyperactive, which means something is wrong feeling and anxiety led by it are highly strong. Let's refer to a case of Mr. Mark, who has both obsession as well as the compulsion to perform an act 3 times.
Open and close 3 times before and after going through.
I feel that I have to wash my hands a lot.
3 times on each piece of toast. The tea with 3 sugar spoons and stirred 3 times. Then 3 sips of tea. When I eat the toast, I have to mash 3 times on the right side of my mouth and 3 times on the left side.
I'd sympathise with people who...
This appears strange, but is a compulsion for him. Which is why he cleans everything with minute details. Make sure they are free from any contamination.
illness, even like if he takes like HIV or cancer. So it's like
either it is a prolonged viral, maybe 15 days viral. Then within a 15 days you will have the aura.
During his visit to any public washroom, he enters 3 different toilets and finally relieves himself. And then washing hands from 3 different wash basins so as to feel relaxed from the fear of contamination. A case of Mrs. Shakila of India who is having severe obsessive compulsive disorder past many
शकीला
years.
खान है। मैं ओसीडी की पेशेंट हूँ। सर्जरी से पहले मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा परेशानी थी कि अगर मेरा हाथ कोई टच कर ले तो मैं ऐसे हाथ करके ऐसे बैठी रहती थी, चाहे मुझे अगर धुलाने वाला कोई 4-6 घंटे नहीं है तो मैं 4-6 घंटे ऐसे करके बैठी रहती थी। जितने टाइम तक कोई नहीं रहता था मैं उतने टाइम तक ही बैठी रहती थी। पानी दिन भर पीती नहीं थी, जब तक मेरे हस्बैंड ऑफिस से नहीं आ जाते थे मैं पानी तक नहीं पीती थी। सारे से लेती नहीं थी कि कहीं गंदा हो, ये है वो है, इस वजह से मैं लेती ही नहीं थी। और अगर मैं नहाना शुरू कर दिया तो मैं 4-6 बाल्टी से नहा रही हूँ तभी कॉन्फिडेंस।
Follow-up studies on OCD shows that about 25% remain unimproved over time. 50% had moderate to marked improvement, while 25% had recovered completely, though having mild obsession and compulsive acts.
Has the kind of obsession, and we assume that this obsession is a kind of maladaptive thought process. So because of the maladaptive thought process, the behavior is the consequences. For this inferences, we do have the cognitive behavior therapy. Suppose one person who is suffering from the obsessive compulsive disorder and in his mind that something is contaminated, and if I go and if I interact, that contamination will create the problem. So this kind of inferences, this kind of the problems, we do have to correct the belief, the schema which individual has developed by chance or any other reasons. So that is the reason in cognitive behavior therapy, the identification of the false belief and the inferences is very important, and ruled out that inferences and evaluation of that inferences will work, and if it is going to correct in terms of cognition, behavior will be automatically corrected and vice
Most
versa.
effective therapy is psychotherapy, which consists of CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, and CBT includes of ERP therapy, which is ERP stands for exposure and response prevention.
It's not about the disorder, it's not about OCD, but it is the way it is reflected in our society. Because society has a major role to play for bringing in positive outcome for those who suffer. As treatment will only work when people seek for it, and they will only seek the treatment when the stigma attached to mental disorders are eradicated and dealt like any other physical condition. As one has said, happiness can be found even in the darkest of time if one remembers to turn on the light.